Hi, Nicole from mychristmas.com.au, and today I'm going to show you how to create your own wreath using simple shatterproof balls, and I'm actually going to use our new jewel ornaments on here as well. So I thought that would be a bit of fun. So there's two options when you make a wreath. You can glue everything in, which means that it's quicker, but it means you can't change it easily. And certainly if you decide to use glass ornaments, I would not be recommending that method. If you're using glass or you want to be able to swap it out, then you want to be able to tie your pieces in. That way you can make adjustments. I'm going to show you both in this so you can choose which way you want to work with. All right, so I've got a 60 centimeter or 24-inch wreath. These we have on the website, and what I like is that they've got 6 dividers. I don't know if you can see the crossbars in here, but there's 6 of these, which means that I like to work this wreath in sections of 3, and I'm going to use those crossbars to help me with positioning. First of all, I'm going to start with 3 of our flowers. So obviously we don't need a stem anywhere near this long, but I'm going to start, while I've got the long stem, I'm going to actually bend this right up because it's pretty stiff at this point, just to give myself a bit of a hook that I can tie this in, and then cut the rest of the stem off and do that for all 3 flowers. So when you've hooked your flower like that, if you put it in, your flower sits up a bit higher in your wreath. That works really well if you've got a really big wreath, but if you've got a sort of 60 centimeter or smaller, you might want your flower to look a bit smaller. So I actually then turn my whole flower sort of 90 degrees to my stem. Crooked. And then when I put it into place, so I find my crossbar again, which is here, I can pull the flower right into the wreath, which means that it doesn't look quite as big. And because I don't want it to be, I've got the jewels and lots of ornaments, so I don't want it to be overpowering, I'm going to choose to do that. And then I simply tie on the back around the crossbar. If you buy one of our wreath kits, the long stems won't be there, but they won't be cut to exactly the size of your creating a wreath. So you still do need some sort of heavy duty cutters. These just came from Bunnings for our Australian clients. And you just want to shape your flowers ready to go in. When I do a flower too, you just want to move around the different petals so you've got all the glitters all on one side. So just mix them around with your felt. Again, working with my crossbar here, I just bring my flower in, and at the back, just turn over so you can see, I'm just going to twist my bind wire around. I do like to sort of pull the flower in as far as I can, but you've just got to make sure that then that's not going to stick out. So give me a second. I'm just going to bend the whole thing over. You see that all right? Mm. And that way, when it goes in and I tie it on, that's not going to be hanging out the back. And just to keep it neat, I'm going to use the same bind wire piece to just wrap that stem against the edge of the frame. Okay, so by using the crossbar, we easily get our 3 sections of the wreath, and we don't have to worry too much. They should be well positioned there. This one actually I can see needs to just be wiggled over. I'm just going to reposition this one slightly just by using the foliage, pushing it out. Okay, so then what I like to do is I like to then sort of fill out another third with a bunch of our balls. So I'm going to use all traditional colours in this one. Some of the balls are wired and then others are not. So with the unwired balls, what we've done is we've actually run glue around the cap here. So if you can just see that, that way when we pull it out, the cap doesn't come off. Now, if we pull on that tightly, this little part is going to come off. So what we also need to do is cut off the cord and then put a little bit of glue across the middle join as well. When that sets, it means that it's going to keep that cap frame from coming off. So I'll just do that to each of the balls. Okay, so they're now set. So what I like to do is put 3 baubles together. These are all 10 centimeter size. So I'm going to use the one that's already wired and add one of each of my other 2 colors. And then just twist them together. That just helps keep it nice and neat. And then I'm going to use my middle crossbar to attach these 3 balls. Just run my wire underneath the wreath. And then you can easily get the 3 balls on there. So we're going to do that to each of the sections. So we've just put the 3 balls onto the wire here, and I'm just going to gently twist these. That takes the pressure off the glued caps. And then looking at, again, I'll just move this foliage out of the way, the central frame here. Okay, and I'm going to tie it onto that, and that is my 6th section. I'm just twisting it around that frame. When you do glue, you do get some of these little threads. They come off though, so you just pull them off after you've done. Okay, so now we've got our main elements on here. Then we're just going to add the jewels. What I'm going to use, I would actually have used probably all red for this because I've got the green flowers, but I've only just received the samples of these, so it's all I've got. I've only got 4 of each colour. And because I'm working in 3s, I need either 3 or 6. So I'm going to just work two coloured pieces in each of our thirds that we've created. Now you can't tie them on the end here unless you sort of want them to stick out. So you could do that. You could have them sticking out that way. If you want to show more, sorry, you're not really seeing it. So if you tie it in that way, it's going to stand out more. You could glue it on to the foliage. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to add, these are cable tie mounts that we just get from the hardware store, Bunnings. These are the little 10 centimeter, 1 centimeter size. And these jewels have like a see-through side and then a solid back, and I'm going to put one onto the back of the piece. Then I can use my cable tie, sorry, not my cable tie, my bind wire. Put that through here. Now it's got the hooks on here too. They can be unscrewed, so if you want them off. And then I can tie it wherever I want onto the wreath, and I get the full element, the sort of the full size of the jewel. So I'm just going to get that around the frame. Make sure my foliage is doing what I want it to before I tie it tight. Okay. And right, so that's how easy it is to tie them on that way, and then you can really maximize each of the jewels. So in each of these sections, each of my thirds, so between a set of balls, I'm going to use one of the long jewels and one of the square ones and mix the colors up around. So I'm just going to get a cable mount, put them on the back. Yeah, they're self-adhesive. If this comes out easily, take it out. If not, it doesn't really matter. But since we can unscrew that, we will. And then run my bind wire underneath the cable mount. And if I have one jewel in here, then I want the next jewel to be sort of out on the other side. Oops. And again, I'm going to run the wire through. Can you see that okay? to the frame, so I need to always be working around the frame there, and get the other bit of wire off. I don't want to lose the whole effect. And then just twist that on there. Alright, so you can see how that works. When you're putting things onto the wreath too, you want to always think about some of the elements being a little bit more on the outside of the wreath and also some on the inside. You don't want it to just be decorated here, because you do see the side of the wreath. So sometimes the one I'm tying on now, it's a little bit more on the side, and that's really important to give you full depth around your wreath. The other thing I'm doing is I'm just mixing up the colors. Obviously, I don't really want two of the same color in one of the sections. And as I said, having one of each shape on here. So now we've got our jewels on, and then the final element, what I like to do just to finish it off is find my baubles. There they are. I just use a simple 7cm size shatterproof ball. You can use different colours. I tend to do this element just in one colour. Quite often they'll have different finishes on them, and this is where I was saying that you can glue on the ball if you want to. And all I'm trying to do here is look at where I've got a few gaps and then just add some of these balls just to finish it off. So I take the cap off and simply run some glue around the ornament itself, and then push it in. Just give it a little moment to hold it. That's it. And this is, again, looking at where you've got gaps. Don't forget inside and outside of the wreath. I also, when I do this, tend to do one pass first, see if I'm sort of happy with the gaps or if there's another area that I need to fill, so I don't go overboard on my first run. Like I'm seeing a space I could put one, but I just want to see how it all looks first before I go and do that. And probably the positioning is almost opposite. In fact, it is sort of where the jewels are. It's the other side. So the flower's filling most of the space here, and then it's just filling that extra bit of space from the opposite of the bigger piece that we've put on. So after I had a look at the wreath, I decided I wanted just one more bauble out. That one hasn't quite stuck as well as I want, so I'm just going to put a little bit more glue on that. And I just wanted the bit of colour coming out sort of behind each of the flowers. Almost tucked it in there. Be careful with the glue guns, they are super hot. Some of them have got two settings, a lower heat, which you can use for this kind of work. So that's it. That's how we create our wreaths with our simple three sections in the wreath on our 60cm frames. These are available in kits for you, or you can use the plan with the decorations you have. Hope this has been helpful. Don't hesitate to contact us with questions. mychristmas.com.au. Thanks for joining me. Have a sensational day. See you.